This is significantly the grossest one that we're doing. Like, no question. This is far and away the grossest. Okay, so let's just get into it. So the digestive system is divided into two groups for the purposes of this. We're going to talk about the GI tract, the pathway from the mouth to the anus. Yes, I said anus. Essentially, it's a hole. So if you want to think about your digestive system as not even entering your body. So food doesn't actually enter your body. It goes into your mouth, you chew it, it goes down through the digestive system and out the anus. It doesn't actually go inside your body. Like a hole of a donut, that hole goes all the way around. Right, food, nutrients get absorbed from your intestines, but the food itself doesn't actually enter your body. So try and keep that in mind as to how these bacteria and things are ending up there. So that's your gastrointestinal tract, that hole in your digestive system. You have accessory organs, things that grind your food like your teeth, and you have digestive secretions. So let's look at a picture of that. Okay, again, the gastrointestinal tract, your mouth, your esophagus, your stomach, your small intestines, your large intestines, your rectum, and your anus, right? Think of it all this way, and then it just comes out. The food doesn't actually enter the rest of your body, just that long series of tubes and stomachs. Essentially, this is going to absorb nutrients and then eliminate the waste. So it's going to go all the way through here. Let's separate this out a little bit. Okay, let's talk about accessory digestive organs. That's everything up here. Your tongue, your teeth, your salivary glands, your liver, your gallbladder, and your pancreas. These are accessory digestive organisms. Let's talk, a little bit about the detailed structures. Let me move this around okay. So that we can see a little bit more. Okay, I'm just going to move that right there. Okay, hold on. So here is your teeth. Right here, you've got bacteria that set on your teeth. This is why you should be brushing your teeth. You're probably going to want to pause this video and brush your teeth. And you're definitely going to want to brush your teeth by the end of this video. I promise you. The bacteria will set here, and this is the enamel. And over time, if the bacteria eats away at this enamel, it will actually get into your dentin and the pulp, and you'll start to have pain. Here's your gums. And so the bacteria will come and infect these gums, and that's how you get gingivitis. Okay, does everyone have this is the structure of your teeth. A little tell me why game. Let's play it. You know how much I like a little tell me why. Why is the digestive system an important portal for microorganisms? I mean, this seems obvious, but let's chat about it for a bit. Your digestive system, that tube that we talked about, that is one gigantic mucous membrane. And mucous membranes are a major portal of entry. So you have your nose that inhales things, bacteria, all kinds of things. You have your mouth that breathes in and inhales things, right? So this is like the main portal for bacteria into your body. You have your teeth that just like there's bacteria growing there, and they can get into your digestive system and even into your heart, as we talked about in the last one. So this is a pretty important way in which bacteria enter your body. Okay, the microbiome. So you've heard, if you've not been living in a cave, you've heard, you've got to keep your microbiome. Here's probiotics, prebiotics, all those things. So essentially your esophagus, your stomach, and your duodenum. So it can be said duodenum or duodenum. I thought I would learn the way that this is said properly, and no one agrees. So your duodenum, I call it duodenum. You can call it duodenum if you want. Is this curve where your stomach starts to come in to your intestines. Do you see that? That's your duodenum. This is your stomach. And this would be what your esophagus is. This is pretty much a microbe-free environment because there's a ton of acid in there. Very acidic is your stomach. So not a ton of things. When they're like your stomach's microbiome they're really talking more about your intestines, not your actual stomach. And the other thing is your esophagus has the peristalsis, those little like cilia, those little like active things that move it down. So things are moving. There's not a lot of setting for the bacteria. Things are rapidly getting transported from your mouth down your esophagus, stomach, duodenum, all the way down into the beginning of your absorbative, your intestines, essentially. So this really prevents a lot of microbial transformation. Your tongue, your teeth, your colon and your rectum, there are tons and tons of things in there. One of them is V. streptococci, most prevalent in this region. And you'll see these are little chains. You might recognize these little chains from your unknown project. You might have these little chains. Just a hint, if you have them, you might want to look up what that means. Okay, lower small intestines. So now we're in the lower small intestines, right? There's a really good microbiota here. These are microbial antagonists. These mucous membranes prevent entry of microbes into the bloodstream. So this is a really important part where you want to have a good flourishing microbiota that's keeping the bad guys out, and like a nice garden of good bacteria, if you will. Okay, why does the use of antibacterial drugs over an extended time increase the likelihood of oral candidiase, or basically thrush candida, also called C. diff? So why would antibacterial drugs actually increase your likelihood of getting C. diff? You can pause and think about that. Basically, the bacteria in the microbiota limit the population of potentially harmful inhabitants. Just what I was saying, you want a good microbiota there. So if you get rid of all the good stuff, it allows a colonization of the bad stuff, if that makes sense, including candida and other things. When the beneficial bacteria are depleted by antibacterial drugs, the harmful microbes can become more abundant. C. albicans is a yeast and therefore not harmed by the antibacterial drugs. And so C. diff produces endospores which survive because they're not being killed by the antibacterial drugs. You killed all the good ones. And now you have this yeast just going crazy. Does that make sense? So let's think about that for a minute. You took a bunch of antibiotics. You got rid of the good and the bad bacteria. But now your yeast is like, sweet, we got the whole place to ourselves. Right? Not good. Not good. Okay, this is definitely the part where you're going to want to brush your teeth. Gingivitis, periodontal disease. Basically, it appears as holes or pits in your teeth. Periodontal disease is when your gums are swollen and tender. And again, that's going to be your Streptococcus mutans and your gingivalis. So both of these cause periodontal disease. So again, you get that plaque. It's a biofilm, right? Oh my gosh, biofilm. We've said this word before. Yay, biofilm. So the biofilm is going to build up over time. It's going to start to eat away at that plaque. And then you're going to get these giant holes. Now you've entered the place where it's starting to hurt. And now these are the nerve endings. Now that's really going to hurt. And this is what you're trying to avoid by brushing your teeth. Feel free to pause the video. Go brush your teeth. Just do it. Use some scope. Because you don't want this. Nobody wants this. This is bad. Okay. All of these periodontal disease in general, most adults have experienced dental issues. Diet high in sugar increases the risk because the bacteria live on the sugar in your mouth. They're called caries, diagnosed by visual inspection, like, hey, you have a cavity. That's what your dentist is doing. Gingivitis, diagnosed by inspection of the gums, treated by scaling and use of antibacterial rinses like Scope. Peptic ulcer disease. This is by H. pylori. So abdominal pain is the main symptom. You have an ulcer, essentially, and that is actually caused by a bacteria. It begins with a bacteria. It's caused by Helicobacter pylori. It looks a little bit like this. Your pylori, it enters your stomach, neutralizes the stomach acid. So again, you don't have a lot of bacteria in your stomach because you have a lot of stomach acid. So you have some layers of mucus and some good acid, but this bacteria invades, and over time, it starts to break down this mucus layer, and then it starts to attack these cells that are being protected by the mucus layer. And pretty soon you have this gastric juice, this basically hydrochloric acid is just being dumped into the epithelial cells and the underlying tissue until you have it coming up into you get an acid coming up this way. It'll bubble up, or mostly it'll just leak into other areas, leak out your stomach. And that, you can imagine, is not good. Holes in your stomach where acid is just spilling out. Not good. This happens. Okay, this is the really gross part. Fecal oral transmission. This happens when people touch their butt and they don't wash their hands after they do that and they shake yours. Or you have fecal contamination in your water, which does sometimes happen. There's actually a lot of ways to get fecal oral contamination. We'll just end with that because it's so delightful.